Hey everyone, Aditya here. So today we are going to learn and move forward towards our comprehensive journey. So we are continuing our comprehensive journey. Now today we are going to discuss more deeply about video editing basics, which involves sequence and timeline mostly. How to start a new sequence and understand the timeline. So without any ado, we'll open our Adobe Premiere Pro. So once it open, I'm going to open my previous Premiere Pro project. So I'm just clicking on it. I have already created a project earlier classes, so I'm using that Premiere Pro project. So now we're mostly focused on what are sequences and understanding the timeline. We'll look into it how to create a sequence. Before that, we'll discuss what is a sequence. For example, here I have the sequence file. What does it mean? So a sequence is nothing but where we add our videos, audios, and any images, and where we add those things and mix them and edit them and add transitions effects. So that will be called it as a sequence, and which will enable us to scrub through it using this handlebar, and also we can cut them. We can do editing in the timeline only. So when you create a sequence will create a timeline for us. So each sequence will have a timeline to edit. Now we'll see how to create a sequence. So to create a sequence, we have so many ways. So I am going to show you a few ways. So the first way is here in the below of our project section, we have an option called new item. If we click here, it will give a number of options like sequence, project shortcut, original file. So leave about these things, just focus on sequence. So if I click sequence, this window will open. So if you see this window, it will having some presets, already available presets. If you are going to use some already predefined presets, for example, you shot on some camera which is having 4K resolution, or you shot on some camera which is having only 720p resolution, right? That camera related details, if you have in beforehand, you can use that. Otherwise, you have so many options here, right? You have DSLR 1080p24, and you have DSLR 1080p30, and these are all available presets, right? And if you want to use your custom settings, you can use this settings button. Here also you have a number of editing modes, like you need 4K or 2K or UHD, and if you know your camera details, you can use that camera specific options here. So I'm going to select this 4K because I'm using 4K most of the times. And based on the selection of your editing mode, it will show you the frames per second. This frame per second also you can increase based on your convenience. If you know what frame per second you are going to render in the end, you can specify that. So I'm going to use 4K video. So if you have any specific settings to render your final video, for example, you want to render your final video in UHD, you can select this UHD. Or if you want to render your final video in 4K, you can select that 4K option. Based on that, you can select your time base, for example, frames per second and pixel aspect ratio. And also you have this audio formats based on your preferences, your convenience. You can select these things. By default also, it will set good values only. If you want to customize it, if you know in about these details, you can customize these things also based on your output set requirement. For example, if you need 4K, you can select this thing. And apart from these settings, you will have these tracks, VR video. So as of now, these are not required. Just focus on these two things. If you have a if you know which camera you are going to shot and which format you are going to render, you can use this presets, available presets. Otherwise, you go to settings and select the video and click OK. It's created an empty sequence for us. And if you see this empty sequence, it's created a timeline, and in this timeline you can add your videos, audios, and music and edit them as per your requirement. So as of now, I'm deleting this sequence. And most of the times, how sequences are going to create, right? Most of the times, you are going to export a 4K video, or you are going to export a 2K video, or a full HD video, FHD. So if you know this requirement, just start your sequence with that sequence settings, then it will be good for your output. Otherwise, if you have some videos, For example, I have these videos. I'm changing to icon view. Okay, I'm going to make crash course folder, and here also I need to change to icon view. Okay, so if you see here, I have these videos, right? I have these videos, and now I want to create a sequence based on these videos. We can do the same thing also. How can we do that? So it is simple thing. You just select your video and drag into your timeline, and automatically your new sequence will be created based on this videos preset. So if you want to know what is the videos preset, you just go to the sequence and go to the sequence settings. So if you see here, it's a custom editing mode, and it is 58.82 frames per second, and it has a frame size, uh, horizontal and vertical, and also it has square pixels, right? So like this information has been displayed based on your video. Okay, if you want to edit like this, you can do that. And finally, you can export this setting into a different setting also. For example, you imported this is in full HD, and if you want to export it as an 4K video, you can do. So what you can do is you can click on the export button, and in the export button you will have an option to select which format to render. So that option we have. So the only thing is we can create our sequence based on our video files, or we can create a sequence based on the output we are going to render. So it's up to us. Okay, and no need to create a sequence based on only uh, output video, right? You can create a sequence based on your source video, and once your source editing was completed, you can render it as an 4K video or any higher resolution. Now if you see here, if I create an sequence, right? If I create a sequence, it's created. I'm going to list view here. So for E2, I have an E2 video, and for E2, it's created a sequence, right? And I can create a sequence, another sequence from E2 also. For example, I have this sequence, and I'm copying it and pasting. I got an another sequence of E2. So I'm renaming it as per E2 one. So this one and this one, what is the difference? There is nothing any difference. Both has having the same video, same settings. So whenever you are working with multiple projects, right? So I have a same project, Premiere Pro project. I can use the same Premiere Pro project, but I can create multiple sequences. So each sequence is an episode for me. For example, the first episode I am going to tell about basics, and the second episode I am going to tell about the sequences and timeline. Then I can create multiple sequences of the same sequence, but I'm going to change inside the content, right? So that we can use the common files. For example, for this Premiere Pro course, I'm using few common music, maybe few common clips, few common effects and color grading. So in that case, I can reuse from the same project itself by using the different sequences. We can keep the one file as a older version and another file as an newer version. So in case of a newer version has any issues, we can get back to the older version by using, if we use the same sequence, and we can create different sequences like this. It will be very useful feature. Now we know more about sequences. Now we'll try to get better understanding of timeline. So to get that, I'm first closing this sequence which was already opened, and after that we need to check what are the options available in this timeline on how to get to know about this timeline now. So first thing, we should enlarge this timeline by dragging like this, as I mentioned in my earlier sessions. So I'm just enlarging the timeline. Now this is the timeline, right? So in this timeline, we'll create a sequence and we'll open this timeline. My comprehensive course, in that I have an English section. So I'm going to open my episode 1. Okay, I have this sequence. So now we will try to look at this sequence. Okay, so we need to learn about this timeline because we spend most of the time in this timeline by editing our videos, right? We can add one above another other videos, we can add more audios, so we can edit more in this timeline panel. So we need to know about this timeline panel more. So first we enlarge this timeline, and now we look at it this panels available. So first thing, if you see, this timeline has my video and audio, and also we have this play head. We can call it as an handlebar, right? So we have this handlebar, which will shows our timings in frames. Usually, the least value of this timeline is frames. We can expand it up to the seconds, hours, and minutes. So yeah, that is about this scale. And now we look at these panels. Here you have V1, V2, V3. These are video channels. So in these three channels, you can able to add videos. And in below you have A1, A2, A3. These are all your audio channels. So here audio will be displayed. For example, I will show you. I have this E2 MP4. I will add this video on top of E1 like this. Now we have E1 in this V1 track and E2 in this V2 track. Even though the audio also doing the same. We have the V1 E1 audio is A1 track and V2 audio went to A2 track. So like this we can add our videos one by one on top of other one, and you can add a track also like this, and you can delete a track which are not needed, right? So these are video and audio tracks where you can add your more videos, and also you can add your audio. For example, here in the below you want to add some uh, take the music like this and add at the below, right? Now this music don't have any video corresponding to it, so I am using this music and directly drag down to the audio track. So that is one of the use of these audios and video tracks. So these are very useful. We can add a number of video tracks and audio tracks. Now here, if you see, these are very minor. Like you can not able to see what is there in this video. So when I go here in this empty space, if I double click, it will be enlarged like this, and you can able to see icons like this. So you can see your video thumbnails like this. Okay, so you can expand your videos like this. It will show the thumbnails to your videos. Similarly, you can expand this video also. It is showing your thumbnails, and we can expand audio, which will show audio in the audio format and also the other audio. So which is showing audio in an expanded view, right? And we can able to select multiple things like dragging like this. For example, I want to select this. This video and audio, so which is already selected, but I want to select all the videos and audios. We can drag like this multiple way, and we can select all the things at a time. So likewise we can drag and select. So if you are not able to see thumbnails like this, there will be settings missing in your system. So if you want to set that settings, you just click on this range button, and here you have number of options. In this you have this show video thumbnails. If it is turned off, you was unable to see the thumbnails. So click on this range button and turn on your show video thumbnails. And also you have few other options like show video keyframes, and we can turn it off also. And it is showing the video names, right? We can turn it off, those things also. Like that you have a number of options here. Based on that you can customize your timeline. So as of now this was good. And also here you have this hamburger menu of your sequence. So if you click on this hamburger menu, you have these many options. So here in these options, if you see below, video head and tail thumbnails will give an head at the starting and then tail at the ending. So in between we are unable to see anything. And otherwise, if you go to this hamburger and select video head thumbnails, it only creates the head thumbnails, but the tails it will remove. And if you have another option, you can show continuous thumbnails. So here you have this option called continuous video thumbnails. If you click here, you can able to see continuous video thumbnails to your video, so that you can able to edit easily. But one thing you have to make sure is, if you enable this continuous video thumbnails, then there will be an issue. So if you feel your computer has less compute power, you can just turn it off. These thumbnails, right? Just add in video starting thumbnail, that is better, beginning thumbnail, because it will based on your compute power. Your compute power will degrade based on the video tracks if you enable these thumbnails, right? So it also slows your playback also. So just remain these things. And also this wave formats, right? You have this waveforms. When you expand this, in this space I double click, I can contract and expand when again I am double clicking. So when you are doing this, it will show this wave format. So showing this wave format usually very helpful when editing the videos, right? You can know here there was a silence, so you can cut that part for this part, and you can play from the where audio was there. So based on that, this wave format is very helpful in future. If you are going to edit videos, it will be very helpful. So as of now I'm closing all these opened tabs, right? So this will look like this, and now we'll see further more options here. Here if you see, you have this lock options. For example, I have locked this audio and this audio. So both the audios are locked, and if I try to move those audios, I can't able to do because audio has been locked here in these channels, right? So that is not possible. And similarly, we can lock this thing. So I have locked this video, the corresponding audio also locked, so that we can't able to move. But this thing we can move, right? So that is the useful use of the lock. Since you completed your video editing of a particular track, right? You just locked it. So if you locked it, nobody unable to by mistake also you are unable to drag that track. So that is the use of this lock. And also you have this toggle track output buttons, like this are like an I button. I, if you click this in the program monitor, you won't able to see this thing. For example, I have locked this, right? I have made it invisible so that it is displaying the below video. If I turn it on, it will display this E2 video. So this is the E2 video, but if I toggle it, it will display it. For example, I am going to toggle the below video, so it will disappear the below video. So we can able to see the E2 only. So like that, if you have any videos which you want to see them individually, you can use the toggle button. And also in for coming to video section, you have this mute option. So we can mute this track and we can listen the below track. Otherwise we can mute both of them, then you can't able to listen anything. And if I mute below one and enable the first one, you can able to listen the first one's audio. And also you have this S symbol, that is the solo. For example, if click this, then this track only plays and remaining tracks become mute. So this is very useful when you have multiple audio files, right? So you want to play only single track and remaining tracks you want to mute. That will be very cumbersome when you click each and everything mute, right? Based on instead of that, if you use this solo, it will give us this privilege to mute all the other audios. So that will be useful of this solo track. And you have this voice over record option also, so you can use this voice over record option to record your own voice, right? If you see here, I was able to
Hey
record
everyone, Aditya.
my
Welcome to my channel.
so I was able to record my own audio like this. It creates an audio file for us also. So by using this audio file like voice over record, if you have any video, right, you can give a voice over here in the Premiere Pro itself. So this is the most of the thing about the timeline. And also we have few sliders, right? If you want enlarge it, right? If you want to go with frame level, if you want to go for a minute level, you can use this sliders below. And if you want to enlarge vertically and horizontally, you can use these sliders, right? I can enlarge like this or vertically, I can enlarge like this horizontally. So we can use the sliders based on our convenience and our preferences. So this is most of the things about the timeline, and you can use this information for your future work.